sure we protect each other's mental space. If you ever need me, just call. I'ma come running, give it my all. Love is love, God wins. Keep your vibrations high and watch how your blessings. If heaven is in your mind, you must be heaven sent. If heaven is a bind, you must be heaven sent. 'Cause I'm for you, and you're for me too. Yes, I need you, and you need me too. You must be heaven sent. Thought I was living life, then I met you. Feelings cut like a knife, could not forget you. Everything that I thought I knew was wrong. Who'd have known I missed out on love for so long? In that moment, it was crystal clear. If heaven is in your mind, you must be heaven sent. If heaven is a bind, you must be heaven sent. Everything, I had the perfect plans, balancing total peace and all of life's demands. Never knew that I planned for a life so fake. Thank God that now I'm wide awake. In this moment, it's crystal clear. If heaven is in your mind, you must be heaven sent. If heaven is a bind, you must be heaven sent. 'Cause I'm for you, and you're for me too. Yes, I need you, and you need me too. You must be heaven sent. With you I'm achieving, now I'm believing we have something so real. With you I'm excited and I am reminded heaven's more than how you feel. If heaven is in your mind, you must be heaven sent. If heaven is a bind, you must be heaven sent. 'Cause I'm for you, and you're for me too. Yes, I need you, and you need me too. You must be heaven sent.
Grand Rising, Namaste, Ashe, Salutation, Shalom, peace. Now listen, we gonna continue to push knowledge out there, okay? But I want to get you into knowing their operations so you can see how they operate, see how they manipulate, right? I want you to understand these different personas that you're gonna come across. They lack empathy, right? Even though they play like they're empathetic, they have learned to mimic human behavior. So they play like they're so empathetic, right? But you'll always see their operation through their patterns. Their patterns will not lie. Their patterns will always tell on them. It's like a tell. It's like a tell, right? You might not understand what stage they're in. That's probably where you're getting confused. You don't know what stage of the ego they're in.
In certain stages of newly developing consciousness, in order to promote the forward growth of the individual soul spirit throughout many dimensionalized identities, the service to self or negative polarization is necessary and a natural part of the mechanics of creation when seeding a new race consciousness. See root races. At the development stage of the first 3 layers of the mind, the 3 layers of ego, a third-dimensional human being is purely service to self. The third chakra or solar plexus is the conscious mind matrix to which the spiritual being may learn how to manifest via the projection of lower thought substance in order to navigate in the material realms. This results in developing consciousness to learn how to individualize through the ego/personality to manifest individual experiences and experience a spectrum of emotional sensory states. Many lower vibrations or spectrum of frequency that may include mental thoughts of anger or fear may be helpful states in spiritual progression and consciousness development throughout the many life stream experiences. However, what has happened on planet Earth during this last dark cycle is not merely a service to self-negative polarization of free will and chosen states of consciousness of the soul. Through negative aliens' invasion of the planet Earth through the genetic alteration of human and planetary DNA, installation of alien machinery to install frequency fences and net, the NAA to implant humanity with mind control alien implants is a bio-warfare strategy to control the planet, humanity, and the soul through directing holographic inserts which alter, modify and damage DNA.
So you can see this happening right now, the modification of this, transformation of this, and the spectrum of frequency that is being manipulated if you allow yourself to see it, right? This has to do with the conscious mind. Then you can see the net. Then you can see this net that is cast over everything, right? This net is what they say is a Nubaru, right? But this planetary net is cast over everything. And these different ley lines is being manipulated in different ways. So the planetary net that they talking about, a Nubaru, electric, right? This is what they're talking about, right? And this comes off of people. They manipulate this off of people.
The net, Nibiru electrostatic transduction field, 1, was anchored into Earth using the NDC and Nibiru crystal temple network during the Luciferian rebellion, 25,500 BC. By impinging scalar sonic pulses at the Earth's inner grid system, an interference pattern or electrostatic force field was created, enshrouding the Earth. This net has the effect of buffering, stopping, incoming and outgoing signals, in particular to the higher dimensions, guardian founder races ETs, etc., creating a kind of quarantine. It blankets the civilization, isolating it from its natural connections to its inner consciousness and spiritual levels, and this field system interfaces naturally with man's existence and constitutes a holographic insert. Surveillance of the Illuminati by the crystal star families is also blocked due to the cloaking and scrambling effect it causes, false readings. Many starseeds are here to be on the ground for reconnaissance work. This astral plane, 4th dimensional. Addiction webbing. And false ascension matrix net is said to be an astral mess. It was fortified in 9558 BC and has since been progressively blocking all natural communications to and from Earth. Preparations have been made by the Anunnaki to lower the net from the astral plane into physical matter, which will then form a frequency fence and present easy mind control over the population during the ascension cycle, 2000-2017. These nets are black hole technologies that were created in Atlantean cataclysm to keep Earth and her life forms in a prison planet. The net fields keep the DNA block locked in.
So
the net is connected to the hibernation zones.
Imagine the things that's happening and then compare it to what you just heard, right? So you see this taking place right now with the internet, with the mind lapse, with certain variations of knowledge that is not here anymore, right? These false idols, these false ascension masters, whatever you want to call them, right? Even if you go back and look at Jaguar, right, and the storyline that they played with the chick Beverly, so on and so forth, that was a manipulation of the ascension process, right? Trying to put you in a fight type mindset, saying that this must be the Atlantean blood that's in you, or this must be the Palladian blood that's in you, or so on and so forth, using these founding races as a way, because they knew that this was going to be in the minds of the collective, that more people would come into this star seed, light seed awakening, and because they couldn't block this knowledge anymore from coming into the world. This information, this knowledge is coming in through the light, through the sun, through sound, through vibrational frequency, so on and so forth. So they realized they couldn't block it anymore. So then they started trying to manipulate it. And then you see this form of manipulation online, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. You see this form of manipulation taking place with different people online trying to corrupt the minds of those who are seeking knowledge, trying to find knowledge, find different variations of things within inside themselves, right? To connect them to other people. We know that this is the time of the gathering. We know that we're supposed to be unifying. We just don't know what group we're supposed to unify to, so on and so forth. But we can all feel a level of unification taking place within inside of us. We just running across different variations of groups that's unified in the astral plane. This is where the astral mess comes in at, right? The false ascension process. You see this taking place with the Krishan rocks, Jaguar rights, right? These are the false white lights. Sexy reds. These are all the false white lights. All these different personas that you see them putting out there, these are what they want. It's a mockery. It's a literally they are mocking the real ascension process. They are mocking it. Listen to this. Listen, and tell me I'm not right.
False white light. This false white light interrupts the vertical connection into the higher spiritual realms and access into the spiritual bodies, blocks access to the organic Christos consciousness in the higher dimensions of the avatar matrix. 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 The false white light is a structure that mimics and mocks Christ consciousness and is highly manipulated through mind control technology by the NAA and their archontic deception behavior. The human being who has not removed alien implants from their soul matrix will have an inorganic umbilicus connection to the astral plane. This inorganic umbilicus, which is connected into this false white light and its etheric webbing, is called the false navel or the false umbilicus. Its purpose is to uncord the spirit/soul body of the human being during the process of death, and so that the being is directed back through the white light tunnel, which will take them back into the astral plane for recycling. Once a being is in the astral plane, the only place they can reincarnate is back to 3D timelines of the Earth, which is the lowest density dimension on this planet, and the most digressed in spiritual
And this is
evolution.
where a lot of people are
This
trapped.
forced recycling is what defines the term of Earth as a
A
prison
lot of
planet.
people are trapped in the astral plane. This is where all of those psychics and stuff, they keep on telling you that they're talking to these people in the astral plane, so on and so forth. There's a lot of souls that are trapped in the astral plane due to the false white light. Go into the light, Caroline. Go into the light. It goes all the way back to the stories of Poltergeist, right? The false white light. We keep on reincarnating through this false white light. And now our planet is moving closer to the 5D, which will show us the golden light, the real reincarnating light, right? But there's something fighting it. There's something stopping it. There's something that's trying to get you to not go that way. Does that make sense? When you look at your body, these are the fears of it, right? The multitude of different fears, right? Your pain body and your mental body, right? So these are the minds of the mental body, right? Pineal, mental body, pineal. These are all the different chakra systems inside the body. right? Each level has its own fear. This is where the word fear and fear comes in, right? As above, you have fear, and then below, you have fear, right? As above, fear, and then below, fear, right? So they manipulate this as above and as without, so within, right? So when you start to manifest into your light body, when you start to recognize your light body, right? It's like a conscious connection, right? You have this conscious connection, and sometimes when you tamper with your with your conscious, right? You'll tap into your conscious, and then you'll step back out of it because the world will start things in this world will start coming against you, right? So these things in this world will make you step back out of your own conscious connection. It'll make you connect to this, false consciousness outside of yourself, right? Artificial Christ consciousness, right? So this is the false consciousness that's outside of yourself. Every time you tap into what's inside of yourself, things outside of you seem to come against you. So therefore, it makes you backtrack. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to, get to know that part. No, no, no. That's too deep. That's too deep, right? So these things are embedded inside of you to constantly make you second guess what is this ascension process inside yourself, right? It wants you to second guess this stuff. The people.
We are becoming made aware that a distortion existing in the human mental body, at the holographic architecture level, has limited our ability to experience the actual.
You always keep on messing up. No, I want you to continue reading. Now you want to stop. Now you want to stop. Now you want to stop.
We are becoming made aware that a distortion existing in the human mental body, at the holographic architecture level, has limited our ability to experience the actual feeling of God consciousness. This false umbilicus is an implanted distortion existing in the third layer of the mental, solar plexus. Light body that blocks the consciousness from experiencing its 5D divine intelligence and spiritual connection. This umbilicus was mainly responsible for repeated incarnations and keeping human consciousness recycling itself on the astral plane of reality. In this last cycle of 26,556 years, as a human being was going through physical death, the consciousness would go to the blocked umbilicus connection in the light body and follow the cord leading to the white light tunnel. Since we were not trained to understand what happens after the physical death of the body, no one told us that we arrive in the spiritual plane at the level our belief system and vibrational consciousness takes us. So this means most all of us went back into the astral plane repeatedly. We were not aware of our choice, our freedom, and that we could choose another reality. So we had to return back into the 3D earth plane, repeating much of the same karmic games of trauma, illness, and degeneration. Over generations, the karmic buildup was so immense that disease and other dysfunctions were produced from these accumulated aberrant energies. These aberrant energies then started to break down the genetics and therefore the light body manifestation template of the human being.
You see that? I mean, things got so bad that we was blocked off from our own light body. They got so bad that the carnal mind, the physical plane, the 3D, blocked us off from knowing the light body or the templates exist within inside of us. The cycles of karma that was repeated over and over and over and over. It created diseases. Everything that's down here right now. There was a spiritual expression for all of this, right? This karma, right? You're going to start noticing that, people who constantly harvest evil and wickedness, they're getting sick. They're going to be sick more out the year now. You're going to see it. You're going to be like, yep. It's going to be you. It's going to be in your family. It's going to be people next door to you. It's going to be people close to you. They're going to be practicing and operating wickedness, and you're going to see them getting sick, and you're going to be like, what the hell? Why are you always sick? It's because this is what they're practicing. Wickedness, evil, deceit. They might be in your face telling you like everything's good. Oh, have a great day. Oh, good for you. Congratulations. All of that stuff. But not their intentions are not good. A lot of people with ill intent will start getting sick.
This cycle of karmic regression of the human species has included repeated incarnations in this 3D realm and the recycling of the consciousness through the 4D realm, the astral plane. This reincarnational recycling is ending. A large part of the holographic architecture repair in our human light body and within the planetary light body includes a healing of this distortion and a reconnection back into the true umbilicus of our light body. We are being reconnected back into our source, our God parent, by reweaving the umbilicus back into its proper position at the still point. The astral plane of planet Earth has a false webbing, called the false navel of the false ascension matrix, synthetic or dead white light in the astral plane, which for most of us undergoing soul matrix embodiment, will reach a point in our ascension that we are required to reset and expand our navel and solar plexus in order to embody our organic frequency, our soul and monad light bodies. 2. Astral plane and 7D logos reversals. Heavy coordinate points that cross into and flood the energy tributaries into the axiotonal lines from the 4th and 7th dimension are being repaired. Since the planetary 7th dimensional axiotonal line is the main disruption of the false Christ crucifixion implants, this has been a primary repair project. The 7th ray, violet ray flame, is transmitted through the planetary 7th axiotonal lines and is being recoded. Previously, this false crucifixion energy implanted in the 7th axiotonal line was feeding another false program being used in the astral plane, which was like a mirage. This mirage I have referred to in previous articles is the false ascension matrix, program made of astral mirrors of delusion. This is why the 4th, astral plane, and the 7th dimensions, violet flame and planetary logos / group mind, are so important in how they intersect and feed the levels of false timelines and NAA enslavement programming. 3.
So you watch the different variations of programming take place. You watch how people try to manipulate the minds of other people, so on and so forth. You might not understand it, in your personal mind. You might not get why people try to invade your mental space, or why, people try to attach traumas to you or attach you to traumas in certain variations of situations. So you might not understand all of this. You might not really know why it's happening, whatever the case may be. But these are things that are taking place inside, of the vessel. It's like the things that was in the womb when we were being created in the womb, right? It ties us to certain things. It's like, this is why, words are more important than what they want to tell you, because words could awaken certain things inside of you. So people might call it a download or something like that, but you could be in a conversation with somebody and have a recollection of something. Certain variations of conversation could spark awakening within inside the dimensions of your mind. So this is what they're afraid of. They're afraid of coercing, right? So the conjuring of it is what's taking place. When certain people say certain things, like, it's almost like you can feel it inside your consciousness, right? It almost like it shakes your consciousness a little bit. When you're in conversation with certain people, it's almost like it shakes your consciousness. You're like, oh, what was that? What was that? What was that? Hold on, go back to that conversation. What did you just say? Say that again, right? It almost like it shakes your consciousness a little bit, like, hey, hold on. What was that? What was that you just said? Let's go back to that. Let's expand on that a little bit, right? But they're going to tell you that none of this stuff, matters, makes sense. Why? Because to them, they got to keep you on the same frequency that they on. They can't have you, expanding into a different variation of frequencies, right? This is why the stuff that we talk about over here, they'll never talk about. They'll say, oh, this is poppycock. Oh, he's over there just spilling out, madness, so on and so forth. But if you actually reach the consciousness, you'll see more people coming out as star seeds. They're searching for their star family, star seeds, light beings, so on and so forth, right? Realizing that we are multidimensional beings sharing a human experience. More people in the collective is coming to that realization. Now, the people who are trapped in the, personal mind, they haven't come to that realization yet, but they're coming to that realization, right? And certain people in the collective mind don't want other people to know about it, because then it's like, oh, so many people know about it, now we can't control the collective.
I think I'm getting another piece here. This transposition filter field is actually a field that is replicating the white light. So as an example, when a human being prays to God, when a human being is in the new age, and they're meditating and maybe nobody showed them how to get out of their astral body, or to get into higher consciousness states. What this field is, what this grid is it produces a replica of the white light, and it's a grid that captures the soul. And it looks like white light, but it's amazing. It's like one of these things where if you're connecting to it and you didn't have discernment and you didn't have the 12D shield and some of these tools, you would not know the energetic difference. You would not know that what you're connecting to is actually artificial Christ consciousness. Oh my God, okay, this thing that is projecting out this weird stuff in the astral plane. What it looks like is that in the mental body, and this is between the third and the fifth layers, it's like a cap on the third layer so that a person can't get into their fifth body. So what this is, I see two sides of it. It's like it's projected on one side, and from below it's like you're looking up at a mirror. So if you're down here and you're underneath this program's false grid, because I was seeing us, it's like you and I are existing above this field. Wherever we are in our consciousness, we're above this structure. And it's like I'm standing there with you and we're looking down at the planet, and we see this weird grid below us. It's as five-sided and it's covering the earth. Upon closer inspection, I see it's covering the people, the collective soul. It's individual and it's collective, meaning it's on everybody's aura and it's on the planet. So it's like I can see that relationship, macro to micro, and as I get closer to it, I see all this grotesque aberrations. Like there is this basic crap being churned out from on the other side. It's like from our side looking at it, it's really grotesque and monstrous. It looks like what you're describing when you're going down into the unconsciousness, the underworld, and doing the invisible release. That's what it looks like. This is the side that's invisible. It's like whatever that mirror is hiding behind. So it's like this grid, because again it's shining like crystals, so it's providing. It looks like a mirror. So we're on the other side of the astral mirror, it's a grid. And what this structure is doing is it's transposing the energies. And as it does these reversals, it's creating like waste material. And the waste material that is being produced from the reversing energy is all the crap, the grotesque creations that you're seeing. That's where you're going on the invisible side. So now if you're underneath it, if we go through the grid and we are now looking up, I see the closure and I'm looking at the view on the other side is completely the opposite. It looks like a diamond white pretty light being reflected through a mirror. But it's odd because you and I can feel the difference. This is not white light. But the issue is that most human beings on the earth cannot feel the difference. So the issue with that, of course, is this is the issue of discernment.
Yeah, but look, this is how designed we are, right? This is how designed we are, right? If we was to actually know the actual 12 strands of our DNA and the, the chromosomes in those DNA strands, right? We can actually reverse whatever programming it is, right? So us going through the astral plane or going through the ascension process, there is a different ascension process, right? A right ascension process. We are ascending the wrong way, but there's a right way to ascend. It's a mirror image, right? So we're ascending and going through this reincarnation process, but there is a golden gate instead of the white light, right? There's a golden gate that we can go through and reincarnate through, right? But if nobody told us about this golden gate, if everybody just told us about the, oh, you know, when you unalive, just go back through the white light, go to the white light, go to the white light, right? Nobody said, hey, don't be afraid, you know, go in the other direction and go to the golden gate, you know what I mean, and reincarnate through the gate of the gods, right? Nobody says that, right? Nobody says that down here, because the fear that's placed on this planet is always to just fear the darkness, fear of the dark, fear of fear, right? So the astral plane is like looking up at a mirror, you know, it reflects back to us. You know, so it's like once you understand this, then the fear is lifted. So once you start astral projecting, once you start going into the astral plane and stuff like that, it changes the fear, right? Because this is where the plane is stuck at, the heart chakra, right? The heart chakra is where the astral mind is, collective race mind, right? So this is where a lot of fear is placed at, in this place, right? The reptilian invasion, Egyptian. This is the part of the body where they are, you know, this is the part of the body where they trap us at, right? This part, right? So they trap you right here. You can't get to the throat chakra. You can't get to the third eye chakra, because this is where they trap you at in astral projection, right? A lot of people don't even get to this part in their dream state. You know, a lot of people don't get to that part in their dream state in that astral world, right? So once they figured out how to trap us there, then the rest of it was just based off of making the collective believe it. You know, the rest of it was based off of putting it out there in the collective, you know, constantly keep us in the root chakra, fight or flight. Anything outside of that, if you try to ascend into your sacral chakra, now you're guilty for the guilty pleasures that you might have embarked upon on this human experience, and you go to the next chakra. So these are things that they manipulate in this whole architect, right? In the whole architect, they manipulate this, right? I can't put this up on there because, but this is the principle, right? The five principles, right? And this is the manipulation part of it.
The male's sexual organs represent the material body of creation in the numerology of 5, 5. When the male body is circulating energy and connecting with all earthly elements, it is represented by the 5-pointed star geometry, which is known as the pentagram. This is man represented in the microcosm, symbolizing our place in the macrocosm and the Hermetic philosophy, as above, so below.
5-pointed star,
We examine
Allah,
individuals
arm,
who
leg,
the
arm, head.
Vitruvian man as a 5-pointed star. We can understand why the pentagram has been flung around as a symbol of fear and Satan by those uninformed to its true meaning. We cannot be terrified of what we are actually composed of and created from, as a part of our gender principle. Whether we are in a male body or female body, until we are activated in our true spiritual and female principle, we remain the symbol of a 5-pointed star. This is the earth human before it conjoins with heaven or the animating Holy Spirit to build the staff. 2.
Now, if we was to get into more depths of that, then this would be going into the principles of the masculine energy and the feminine energy inside the vessel, right? There's a masculine energy and the feminine energy inside the vessel. And through all of that, we get to understand exactly what is this 6-point star that later comes about when you connect to that feminine principle and that feminine energy. This is the later star.
A 6-pointed star. This geometry means unity of polarity coming into oneness with God. In the earlier stages of building the divine Christic 12D shield, The Merkaba star or Star of David is the symbol code called upon to support the path of energetic synthesis, to bring unity within the light body. The Star of David means unity between male and female. The geometry directs balance between the masculine and feminine energies that exist within every human being, whether male or female form. All humans are intrinsically made up of gender principal energies, masculine and feminine, of which are designed to come into sacred union in order to communicate with the highest self, the inner Christosophia light.
So your divine feminine and masculine energy inside your body has to become one with each other in order to understand any of this. The stuff that I'm talking about, the stuff that we're, trying to put back out here, this knowledge that I'm putting back out here, you have to have a level of discernment and divinity within inside one's vessel, inside your own self. This has to exist, right? Now they put out different variations of falsitries. Yes, that's part of the black magic, right? That's part of the black magic of this plane, right? So you're going to fall victim to these falsitries. These people will make you think, oh, I got to find my divine husband or my divine wife in order to put myself out there. That's the physical ideology of what's taking place inside.
For every light worker, it is critical to discern the quality of force that is behind the use of symbols, codes, or geometries, as the intent infused into the symbol is energized with the quality of force that the person is applying into that symbol, as well as for what purpose they use that symbol or code. On the Earth, the NAA have done everything possible to associate creation symbols that are pure consciousness energy, and distort and debase that energy into reversals, in order to destroy creation and destroy life. The imposter spirit has purposely usurped many holy symbols and sacred geometry for the main purpose of creating confusion and fear in the average mind, and to associate negative qualities with creation symbols and holy presence. The main purpose of the Satanist or Luciferian is to destroy the original intent of creation codes, such as sacred geometry, in so that the human being will be so filled with fear and confusion around sacred symbolism, they will develop spiritual terror and run away from them as to not offend God. This is the ruse of the satanic forces, who want to steal creation and life force away from humanity, and thus steal the inherent knowledge of humanity's own consciousness bodies away from them. Hence, the Star of David is used in black magic by people that have been taught to defile its true meaning in occult rituals by the imposter spirit and NAA. This is to prevent the true meaning of its use to inspire unity in human beings.
Now, we can get into that later on. That's why I say I want to start putting classes of this together in the Discord, maybe twice a week. We do a class in the Discord to further, explain some of this stuff in a way that people can understand it, whether it be through the biblical text, Jewish text, or a comb through history, Greek mythology, Roman mythology, Zachariah Stitchins. I don't know what you guys study or what you guys look into in order to reach, these different variations of knowledge, Kundalini, Knights Templar, Christian Crusade, the Druids, Ascends. I don't know. There's so many different, levels to this right now. There's so many different timelines, if you would say, laid on top of each other right now. It's hard to say what level of knowledge you're coming into this on, or what, I'm trying to meet people where they at, if you would say. But it's hard because when I'm explaining it based off of like what I think people would want to know, right? That's not based off of where you're at or what you know, right? Because if I go into the galactic wars, the Lyra constellation, so on and so forth, y'all gonna be like, oh, there he go with that moon, stars, and quasars again, right? If I go into the Sumerian, text, so on and so forth, Zachariah Stitchins, or if I go into like, Admiral Byrd, Journey to the Center of the Earth, all these different variations of things is just to give a grander understanding of what is, always was, and always will be, right? But due to gender reversal and different variations of things that they use down here in this physical plane, it's hard to put the knowledge back out there because everybody is combating knowledge instead of having an open mind. And then when you do create a group of open-minded personas, right, they plant these people inside to try to, attack that open-minded group or network, however you want to look at it, so it's hard to try to meet people where they're at because the idea of this world is not to awaken you, you know, it's not to awaken you, you know. So you watching it, but watching it and
Weaponizing gender
supporting
with a
it.
gender reversal technology. To begin to unpack why the corrections being made to the flame of Kemalohadia and chem codes are incredibly important for planetary ascension through the realignment of corrected gender principle and gender twins, we must first know that angelic humanity has been explicitly targeted for gender splitting and gender reversal. The long-term plan of the NAA intruders, with their technological and chemical-based gender reversal agendas, is to finalize their total domination of the planet with full mind control subjugation of humanity through the gradual digression of the organic human biology into a transhuman transgender slave worker. To imagine what the NAA desire to manifest in the future, the transhuman condition evolves into controlled breeding programs for biological consciousness imprisonment, whereby remnant aspects of the human soul are forced into a biological drone body that appears exactly like the EBE or gray alien. Worker classes. These biological drone bodies are without gender, without genitals, without human intuitive or emotional sensory abilities, unable to enjoy any physical sensory pleasures such as eating, mating, or bonding with another of their species. 3.
And yeah, exactly. But how do you get people to unify in that, right? So what you want is you want people to unify in that, right? And realize that that is the new wave. But the problem is you would have to have people supporting it to show people that's the new wave. That's what the collective is going to, mimic, right? So when it changes the operation of currency, people notice that. People know the currency change, right? So when more people start buying into unity, when more people start buying into the self-sustained systems of us looking out for each other, so on and so forth, right? Then they'll try to start selling that idea back to us, right? Then they'll start selling that idea back to us to where as though you'll be like, oh, okay, I can see it now. You know what I mean? Like right now, like I'm trying to put together, you know, uh some sort of team, right? And we had to contact, I'm trying to contact like some big people in order to get this project off the ground because it's $1 billion project, right? But it's going to change the unemployment rate, right? So I'm trying to get in contact with some big people, that's going to put some things together and it's going to change the unemployment rate, right? But the problem is the world right now, the reason why I say it's going to change the unemployment rate because it's about giving that power back to the people, right? It's like Uber only became big because it felt like people had that power back, not to travel, but to work, right? At their own time. Uber Eats, Uber, Instacart, all of that stuff. The working world is feeling more comfortable doing that because they feel like they're creating their own hours, they're creating their own job, the time that they're given to it, so on and so forth, right? But imagine that on a bigger scale. Imagine a fill-in service for customer service, right? As a customer service representative, right? You can work 8 hours at this place, 8 hours at that place, and accumulate a 40-hour paycheck, right? You can do, Walmart here in your area, then go to this Walmart and do it, or go to this Lowe's or Home Depot, so on and so forth. But the power is back in your hands for your hours and your job, right? So, and this will give the people that's employed, this will give them a more better service of their home life, because now it's not like they're selling out to the, how they feel like, man, I give my life to this corporation and I'm forgetting my home life. But this gives them a fill-in service that they can use also, to use people to fill in for them to get time back with their family, right? So I'm working with some big people to try to get that off the ground right now, as far as like this can be used on 7 different continents. So this can be big. So I'm trying to get the right people together in order to, put this out there and start that company or sell that company to some billionaire who's trying to become more, because they're not going to let me keep a company that big. You know what I mean? They're going to be like, we'll buy it off you for $50 million. You know what I mean? Like an idea that big, they is not about to just let me have an idea that big and start a company like that. They're going to be like, you know what I mean? Buy them out. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to try to, present it to the right people, and, let me get my 50 million with, a 5 to 10% share on the back end or whatever, however it works. I'm gonna find my way to it, what I'm saying, make sure that I'm getting that longevity money, you know what I mean? Whether it be 5 to 10%, I'm gonna make sure that there's a clause in the contract. Yeah, you're gonna buy it for, excess amount of millions, but let me make sure I keep, this 10% of it coming in at all times. You know what I mean? However, that's on a bigger scale. Like that's my idea on a bigger scale, in order to bring like workforce America back up. You know what I mean? Like maybe I need to write a letter to Trump and see if Trump's going to jump in on the idea, because see, this works for even AI. Because think about an application that's attached to like Facebook or something like that, and you go on there and you put in your credentials or whatever, and it generates different people that is suitable to fill in for you at your job, and then you do the interview with them. You could put the interviews on the website, you could put the job training on the website, thus far additional AI training or classes, thus far the advertisement. It becomes an app for Apple, it becomes an app for Android. So everybody's going to get in on this, you know, everybody's going to get in on this, everybody wins. But I got to put myself around the right people in order to broadcast this idea out there. You know what I mean? It ain't going to happen with me arguing in the Jaguar rights sector. You know what I mean? Yeah, I got to make sure I get that 10% royalties, on the front and back end. I gotta get in touch with the Zuckerbergs, and you know what I mean? I gotta get in touch with them. I don't know how yet, but once they hear it, they're gonna see the dollar signs in it. See, us at this level, we can't see it because our minds is not freed up for that level of thinking. But the people who have millions already, who's thinking about how to make more millions off of those millions, they'll hear this idea and they'll be like, that's a freaking great idea. That's a great idea. I'll get my team on it right away. And then the next thing you know, they're serving all types of lawyer paperwork in front of you, talking about sign this, sign that, sign this, sign that. You know what I mean? So I'm just looking to present it to the right people. You know what I mean? I'm running into different people, but it's not the right people yet. The right people will hear this idea and be like, and then maybe I just got to put together a team of people and we travel around to these different, and put the project together. Like maybe I got to put together a team that's going to help me get the idea out there. You know what I mean? I might have to put together a team that's going to help me get the idea out there. The little startup team. And we split I don't know about splitting. But everybody gets a portion of the I don't know about splitting. We're talking about possible $1 billion operational idea here. You know, think about the website revenue. Think about so many people going to that website. Think about that. You know what I'm saying? That alone is going to bring in a bunch of shit, you know, a bunch of money. You know what I mean? And then that's not even including like, man, you know, in 1 year, I can see it just becoming something so crazy that people will be like, yo, that's like bigger than Facebook, bigger than TikTok, bigger than, think about it. Think about the network that would have to be created off of something like that, because it would have to have so much level of security in order to keep, you know what I mean? It would have to have so much level of security, but it will upgrade digital financing, right? It's going to upgrade digital financing because people are going to have to get paid digitally more, right? Cell phone service will go up because you're using your phone to clock in to get your hours here and there, right? So it's going to have so many, it's got to have so many variations of security and insurance and so on and so forth. So I myself I can't, even though I have the thought for it, I can't produce this, right? It's going to have to take a millionaire to look at this and be like, you know what, I got to get my team on it, so on and so forth, because the level of insurance, the level of security policies that would have to be put behind this. Listen, I'm just a little guy, you know, I'm just a little guy. But if I get the idea in front of the right people, that's the thing. Getting that idea in front of the right people. You know, when you get an idea like that in front of the right people, that's when it becomes life changing. That's when it becomes life changing, when you get that idea in front of the right people. So this is where this, remember, I always show people this, right? These are the, you know, symbols of the body, right? All of these are the symbols of the body. Even this lower one at the bottom, which is your 13th, the 13th zodiac, the mystery 13, right? But you got Pisces. Pisces is considered the foot, right? See, Pisces is the foot, right? It connects to Aries. Aries is the head. Aries, Taurus, this is the head, right? Aries and Taurus, the raw head, right? So it said a time that the head will become the tail, so on and so forth. So we're coming out of Pisces, entering the age of Aquarius, right? Going backwards now, right? They thought that it would change, but it's actually just going backwards, right? Back into the Aquarius sky. Pisces going back into the Aquarius sky, right? But in this time, the spiritual awakening of your Kundalini, so on and so forth, which is usually coiled at the base of your spine in the root chakra, now it is rising from that and moving back up our spinal cord, right? It is permitted to go back into the garden. Some people say you got to practice, you know, retention, this, that, and the third. Everybody got these different idea rules that they're, you know, going with right now. But we're in the Aquarius sky right now, right? During the Aquarius sky, these things will have, you have to know these things, right? This is why I tell people Uranus is the ruling planet of the Aquarius sky. Uranus is the ruling planet of the Aquarius sky. It is also known as the heavenly sun planet, or Lilith, which is the feminine energy of it, however you want to look at it. But you know, his father Kronos, which is Saturn, so on and so forth. We're coming out of Saturn. Uranus, childlike, so on and so forth. So you have a Saturn mind, and then you have a Uranus mind, right? So this is why you see this ploy against the children, against the youth, because Saturn didn't like his kids. You get into the story of Kronos and all of these different tales that they talking about. Saturn didn't like his kids, but okay, that's a story for another time too. In Greek mythology, you know, all of these
The
different
name
things they
Uranus
have
means
a
is
they
the
have
ancient Greek
a
deity of the sky Uranus,
in-
the
uh,
ancient Greek
origin.
Omicron Rho Alpha Nu, known as Salus in Roman mythology, the father of Cronus, Saturn, grandfather of Zeus, Jupiter, and the great-grandfather of Ares, Mars, which was rendered as Uranus in Latin, IPA, Urans. It is the only one of the 8 planets whose English name derives from a figure of Greek mythology. Uranus is called by a variety of names in other languages. Uranus's name is literally translated as the Sky King Star in Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and Vietnamese, Sa Thien Vong. In Thai, its official name is Dao Uranat, as in English. Its other name in Thai is Dao Meruateu, Star of Mtyu, after the Sanskrit word for death, Mrtyu. In Mongolian, its name is Tengirian Van, translated as King of the Sky, reflecting its namesake god's role as the ruler of the heavens. In Hawaiian, its name is Helikala, the Hawaiian rendering of the name Herschel. In Maori, its name is Warangi.
Now
In culture,
you might
in astrology, the planet Uranus, symbol Uranus's astrological symbol, is the ruling planet of Aquarius.
ruling
As
planet of
Uranus
the
is sun
Aquarius
rising,
god.
Uranus is associated with electricity. The color electric blue, which is close to cyan, is associated with the sign Aquarius. The chemical element uranium, discovered in 1789 by the German chemist Martin Heinrich Klaproth, was named after the then newly discovered Uranus. Lydia Sigourney included her poem The Georgian Planet in her 1827 collection of poetry. Uranus, the Magician, is a movement in Gustav Holst's orchestral suite The Planets, written between 1914 and 1916. Operation Uranus was the successful military operation in World War II by the Red Army to take back Stalingrad and mark the turning point in the land war against the Wehrmacht. The lines, "Then felt I like some watcher of the skies" / "When a new planet swims into his ken," from John Keats's On First Looking into Chapman's Homer, are a reference to Herschel's discovery of Uranus.
Now look, I understand. I understand a lot of people are in there. We're not in our collective mind in order to understand a lot of this stuff. A lot of this stuff, people would be like, "Man, that's gibberish. What is that dude talking about? He don't even know what he's talking about." So on and so forth. You'll hear a lot of people say a lot of that stuff, right? But the people who actually embarked on these, parts of knowledge, they're hearing words and references to words, and they're like, "Damn, that's deep. That's this. That's that." Why? Because they know like he's not lying. Like there is a logos, there is a matrix, there is astral projecting, so on and so forth. Why? Because you experienced this stuff already. This is not me trying to convince you. This is more so like reminding yourself almost. This is like a reminder, because you wouldn't be drifting into, or however you want to look at it, we wouldn't be existing in each other's consciousness right now, right? We wouldn't have this lore towards each other, or you wouldn't have a lore to my page, my voice, whatever you want to call it. You'll be still trapped in that other verse where your lore is towards the chaos, where your lore is towards that, right? Where you are drifting in and out of different variations of people's consciousness, because of these things that you might be interested in or not interested in, right? So when we come into each other's existence, this is us drifting in and out of each other's consciousness. We're using the internet to do it, right? But we're drifting in and out of each other's consciousness. Now, what someone leaves on your consciousness is what they leave on your consciousness, right? What you allow them to leave in that space when we drift in and out of each other's consciousness, that's up to you, right? But this is why I go back to like the Lyran constellations, the wars, right? This is where the Greek mythology stuff comes in, right? King Arthur, all of that stuff. This is where that mythology comes in, because the fight for the Lyran constellation, the light of Lyra, all of that stuff.
In Greek mythology, Lyra was associated with the myth of Orpheus, the musician who was killed by the Bacchantes. After his death, his lyre was thrown into the river. Zeus sent an eagle to retrieve the lyre, and ordered both of them to be placed in the sky. Citation needed. In Wales, Lyra is known as King Arthur's harp, Talon Arthur, and King David's harp. The Persian Hafiz called it the lyre of Zura. It has been called the manger of the infant savior, Praecepe Salvatoris, too.
See that? Now, this is where you get into those, those stories of King Arthur, right? This is when you get into the story of King Arthur and that bloodline of why that story circulates down here, right? That story circulates down here for a reason. All these stories circulate down here for a reason. All of them. This is the remembrance of it. When you start to speak about it, certain things like that, it's like an awakening inside that consciousness that's inside other people, right? So it's like you start remembering, like, oh shit, I remember this, right? And then you'll also have that, notion of, oh, maybe I'm just thinking about it because, he was talking about it, or because he said this about it or said that about it. Maybe that's why I'm thinking about it, so on and so forth, right? There's a lot of people who have alien abductions or, say that they have, it's because they're either about to be abducted by aliens or already been abducted by aliens. Even if you was to look up, how can you tell if aliens are going to abduct me or if I'm going to get, it'll tell you, like, if you're already thinking about it or already looking it up, then it either already happened or it's about to happen. Look it up. If you don't believe that your conscious is very important, go ahead, look it up. Ask about alien abductions. Ask about alien abductions. The number one rule of alien abductions, if your ass is already thinking about it, then it most likely already happened. If you already having thoughts about it, then it probably already happened, right? But however you look at this, right, our realities are bleeding into other systems of reality, right? Our reality is bleeding into other systems of reality. So all of this stuff is happening already, right? This stuff is already happening, right? The bloodlines, the Mahurad bloodlines, all of these different things, they have found different variations of personas down here. The knowledge, the information is getting put back down here. Just us sitting here with the little bit of people that we have, it is still putting this back into the ether, back into the so therefore that knowledge is back, right? Now, once we come to the realization of this will be later on. Later on, we'll come to the realization of this, and that will be through the form of thy rod and thy staff, right? So once people understand exactly what's happening, so on and so forth, the conscious is connected, right? Thy rod and thy staff, this is where you start to understand like the whole Christ, or the essence of Christ that is inside the vessel, right? It'll start strengthening us all, because we'll all have this notion of the Christ-like consciousness that is inside of us. So we'll start treating each other with a higher, more respect, start greeting each other with a more namaste approach, saying that the God in me recognize the God in you, right? And I don't want no problems with that, right? But see, you have to start practicing the unity of consciousness, loving yourself, loving others, loving the earth and nature, service to others, consciousness expansion, right? And this is on a day-to-day basis. This is every day. Every day you wake up, you got to practice these different variations of things, right? loving thyself, loving others, so on and so forth, right? This is the law of service to others, everything like that. This is a part of that. No matter how many assholes you run across, no matter how many jaguar rights you run across, you got to keep on doing this. This is why you'll see us. We'll take a break and then we'll come back. We know that this is bigger than us. You know what I mean? We know this is bigger than us. We know it is. And it gets to us sometimes. We'll take a break and then we'll come back. We'll take a break, we'll come back. We try not to let it become us. We'll take a break and then we'll come back. Right? Because we know the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is that level of unity, right? That's the ultimate goal. You can only do so much, right? You can only give them so much at one time because they'll keep going against it. So you just got to put it out there. You know, it's like trying to feed a wild wolf. You know, you go check on that wolf, you put the food out there, and then you leave. And then you come back and see if the wolf ate the food. You know what I mean? And then the next time you come back, you check on the wolf again, and each time you try to, get a little bit closer and closer to the wolf, because you realize that your conscious and your collective is a bunch of wolves. Your collective is wolves. They're all wolves, right? So trying to tame these wolves is difficult. So you kind of like put it out there, and then you come back. They might bite you. You know. And then you leave for some time. You come back, you know what I mean? Because that's what you got to realize. Then you got to keep on operating like that. They're going to slap me in the face, and y'all going to keep on saying the same thing. Why does he keep going back? Why does he keep dealing with them? Why does he keep? Because it's mastering the collective. You have to keep on dealing with them. They're just going to pop up in a different form. At least you know the form that they're in right now, you know? If I don't deal with them in this form, they're going to resurface in another form. Do you not get it? And think about it. If the devil approach you in one form, why would you deal with him in the form that you know him to be in? Like, okay, I see you now, devil. What is it you want? Let's have this dance. You're going to say, oh no, you're going to ignore it. And then he's got to approach you in another form, and then another form, and another form. Nah. If we're going to deal with this negative energy, let's deal with it in the form that it's in. I see you, you see me. Right? I see you, you see me. What's up? That's why I always let it present itself how it's going to present itself. You know? I don't be trying to let it shape shift on me. I do not be trying to let it shape shift on me. Nah, I see you. I see you how you are. And that's the problem. A lot of people don't want to admit that they who they are, right? So when you recognize them and you say, hey, I see you, they get all scared. They get all bothered, Oh, you see me? You know what I mean? They get all scared, all bothered. They want to act like you, I'm just a fragment of your imagination. You are not seeing what you think you're seeing. But just wait. Just wait. One day I'm going to have a multitude of, like-minded people around me. You know what I mean? And we're all going to have our mind on the same thing. Being the change that we want to see in the world. Then we're going to start seeing more of that change in the world. And we're going to realize that we had something to do with it. We're going to start witnessing that change take place and multiply. And we're going to realize, like, damn, we had something to do with that. And that's going to be a beautiful thing. to be a change of to be a part of a change that's so magnificent it changes the whole world and the idea of unity and love. Like, come on. I want to be a part of something like that, you know? I don't want to be a part of the group that got rid of a whole nother group. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to be a part of that table. I don't want to be a part of the. No, guess what? I'm a part of the group that got rid of a whole nother group. Nah, fuck that. I don't want to be a part of that table. I want to be a part of the group that unified everything. You know, let's be a part of that. Let's be a part of unity first. And then in 26,000 years, y'all can see if y'all want to divide again. But in the Aquarius sky, let's be a part of unity. And then we bring in the golden age. And then after the golden age, y'all see if y'all want to do this, the you know, the silver and the bronze and all of that stuff. Yeah, and it's going to take a while before everybody knows that. You know what I mean? It's going to take a long while before everybody knows that. We still got to go through some shit. We still got to go through some shit in order for us to understand it. There's a lot more we got to go through, people. A lot more we have to go through. Hope you know it. But it'll be okay, though. You know? You know? It'll be all right. Because we got to go through it, you know? That's why it'll be all right. Because we got to go through it collectively. It'll get easier. It'll get easier because, you know, once you start realizing it's like a collective, then it'll start getting easier. You know what I mean? It'll start getting easier once you realize it's the collective. Like, oh, okay, boom. See, right now, it's so tough because they're going against woke society. So it seems like we're hiding again. Like, whereas though before, like woke society, people was not scared to step out, you know, in that woke society was not scared to step out, you know, so people were stepping out more in that woke community, woke society, people were stepping out more, right? You know, having the conversations of flat earth, round earth, you know, different variations of conversations, people was having it more, you know, not now though. Not now. People are not having that conversation now. It's like they got scared again. People got scared again. Too much happened or something. You know? After you know, Rashad Jamal and whatever, it's like people just was like, oh hell no. You know, people stopped. I don't know what it was. But we was at a high rate. It was a lot of people out there journeying for knowledge and so on and so forth. And then it stopped. Like we got scared back into, you know. Yeah. Before, before we were, just having the conversation and building and everybody was putting different pieces together, like, oh, okay, yeah. Now it's like, somebody done infiltrated the, collective, and now we're just divided again, you know what I mean? Shoved back into our corners. They affected, or however you want to look at it, they started affecting all of the different pages that was waking people up, or whatever you want to call it, and they just started affecting all of them. And now everybody's scared to talk. Everybody's scared to talk about it. It's like they all got paid to attack us. And they probably did. They probably did. They probably got paid to attack us. You know? I mean, yeah, you're right. They are. It's a lot of people, you know. I've been looking and searching for the collective, but it's hard to find the collective because look at how many people are, putting negative on people and so on and so forth. So it's hard to actually find the collective, you know what I mean? So many people is putting, so much negative out there. It's like it's hard to find the collective. But, however it's working. It's working. It's working. You know? They know. They definitely know. You know? The real question becomes, will it change? That's the real question. The real question is not about them knowing. They all know. They all know, and they all are aware. And it's just like we have a chance to change, you know. You know, we all have a chance to change. It just got to be that collective change. People got to be, somebody's got to lead by an exemplary measure of it. So a group of people are going to be the pioneers of this change, And I know our collective is in there somewhere, you know. We just gotta focus and get the right people around it so it can become more. You know what I mean? Get the right people around it, it becomes more, and then more, and then more, you know. But we have to get the right people. And then, this it just comes into believing in that collective, right? So it's like some people are still skeptical of us, or some people are still skeptical of what it is that we do, whatever. It don't matter. Like it's still growing. It's still happening right now. It's happening. So that's good. You know, that's good. It's happening. You know, I feel positive. You know. Gotta feel positive about that, you know? Right. Right. It's taking, it's getting there. It's getting there. One person at a time, we getting there. We really got to put the Discord back together, and then I got to start bringing people over from TikTok. You know what I mean? Bring people over from TikTok and just rebuild the collective. You know what I'm saying? That's all I gotta do. We might have to put some funds together so we can start traveling again. You know what I mean? Start hitting up people. Look, the farm coming across nicely. We got goats and stuff out there now. I gotta walk down there to show y'all later on. To do a little walk of it to show y'all. You know. So think about it. Like once we get this on one location, like then you're looking at that, the duplication of it in multiple other places. You know what I mean? Then we just duplicate that in multiple other places. It'd just be so dope. Imagine on all around the United States, we got different homesteads that's helping and building each other and supporting each other, crops and so on and so forth. You can't go wrong with that. They don't want that to exist, you know. They don't want it to exist. Oh, it's going once everything. Listen, I promise you. Look, once we get in front of the right people and sell some of these ideas to the right people, we got no choice but to take off. You know what I'm saying? Don't even worry about it. We got no choice but to take off. Right? We're gonna get in front of the right people. The ideas is gonna go to the right people. We ain't got no choice but to take off. Right? The problem The problem is going to be the people that's just going to hate. You're going to have people that's just going to hate because they're going to wish they thought about it or wish they was a part of something that big or whatever the case may be. So they just going to hate. That's why they're going to be like, and then think about it. They already came against it. So now it's like they can't go backwards. You know what I'm saying? They ain't going to want to go backwards. You know, they ain't going to want to go backwards on it. You know, so that's the reality of it. You know what I mean? That is the reality of this. So we gonna see. We're gonna see. We gonna see. It's gonna be tough. It's all gonna make sense in the end. It's all gonna be beautiful in the end. It's gonna be like, dang. Remember that we're gonna look at this again a year from now and see the progress that we made. You know what I mean? We're gonna look at this a year from now and see the progress that we made, and we're gonna be like, damn, we came a long way again. You know? Again. Watch. You see it happening. You see us. You see it happening. You see us growing. They not liking it, but hey, man, everything ain't for everybody. But we there though. We there. Great things is happening for us, but we there. You know. But can't do nothing with them. Gotta let them sit, you know what I mean? Go ahead, let them fester. What can you do though? Sometimes it's just good to sit. We could sit, you can sit like this all day. All day we could just be here. Just be present. You know what I mean? They can't do shit. You know? Can't do nothing about us. Why? And this is our space. We fought hard for this space, you know? They denied us. They denied us this space. Nah, we here now. We here. You know? We just gotta start building in this space. That's all. You know? Start building in this space, then we good. Gotta get more people to come over here, then we good. Get some more people to start making some more music, then we good. Dang, Michael Jackson did it again, and he ain't even here, and he hit #1 again. Huh? That boy good. That boy is good. For real. Boy, then hit #1 as a ghost. Huh? As a ghost. We'll get the right supporters. That's no problem. We got to get the right supporters though. You know what I mean? Not those other people. They wanted to support us because they wanted to support us in that messiness. You know what I mean? They wanted to support the messiness. They wanted to support us in that. You know, in the idea of mess. We didn't want that. That's not what we wanted. That wasn't for us. We want to wait until the dust settle. That's where we'll meet everybody at. We'll meet them where the dust settle. You know what I mean? Once we meet them where the dust settles at, we good. You know, we'll just meet them where the dust settle. Let the dust settle, right? Let the dust settle, and let them go ahead and you know, let them go ahead and get all of their fighting out, shake it all off. You gotta let them get their fighting out first. Let them get the fight out, shake it off, and then we'll be right here with the knowledge. You know what I mean? We'll be right here with the knowledge. That's the same thing I told people on TikTok. Like, listen, man, y'all feel like it's a war, y'all gotta fight. Fight y'all war, fight y'all battle. And when it's all said and done, we'll be right here with the knowledge and understanding, for everybody. That's all. That's all to it. That's all to it. We'll wait. We'll wait them out. We'll see what be's here in the end. We will see. That's it. We'll see who makes it to the end. Their negative, it's only going to get them so far, if we're being honest. They can only get so far with the negative, you know what I mean? Whereas our positive, oh yeah. Our positive is going to get us all over the place, That's the beauty of positivity. It's going to take us places, Their negative is not going to take them places. Well, it is going to take them places, but all the wrong places. All the wrong places. We, on the other hand, are headed to bigger and better things, as they will say. Great things come to those who appreciate it. Not, That's it. Not that false, fake operation. Mm-mm. No, that secret operation. None of that. No. The secret operation to get you every time. Mm-mm-mm. No. You gotta stay out the way. But they know that though. They see it. They see it on here. They know I can sit on here for 10 hours and have something to talk about, whereas though they can't do that. They can't do it. You know why? Do you know why? Because they don't got it in them. The integrity is lost. But think about it. That's why you got to have that practice of your consciousness, conscious expansion. I'm always in the cosmos, you know. I stay in the cosmos. I try to. I come down and visit Earth all the time, but I stay in the cosmos. It's a difference up there, you know.
Transmigration. This is the third and final stage of developing full consciousness freedom as a cosmic citizen. This is similar to the process of translocation. However, the person does not have to come back to the Earth at all. Now the person can go any place in the cosmos that they choose to go without limitation. However, if they go to another planet, they will be subjected to the laws of that planet's inhabitants. This is the status of having a cosmic identity and being a full cosmic citizen. This has been accomplished a few times on the Earth historically, but the current planetary miasma mutations can make this very hard, although it may become easier in the future. Transmigration is one way to describe what it means to be free. That when we project our consciousness body out, we don't have to come back to the Earth, nor do we have to incarnate back here. In order to be able to achieve a full transmigration of our consciousness body and physical body, we must have released the miasmatic record and the cell we inherited from our biological parents. There is a cell that is carried from the family of origin that is recorded into the physical body at birth that was inherited from the biological parents. It is a cell that was created in the chromosomes at the time the egg and sperm of our biological parents united. This cell becomes a part of the seed of the physical body that we are incarnated in. Once the family of origin cell is freed, it gets cleared from the body, and as it releases, it vaporizes. At this point of transmigration, the person is now a cosmic citizen. They may hold memories of being on the Earth, but their identity isn't necessarily that. This third stage is something that is very special, unique, and specific to the diamond sun body and crystal consciousness in order to achieve full sovereignty and spiritual freedom. 1.
Now, this is when you get into the spiritual freedom. You don't know. This is when you treat it free to travel dimensions of your mind, explore dimensions of your mind, so on and so forth. Now that the door is back open, this is where the collective consciousness comes in and why they manipulate the collective consciousness.
These collective consciousness bodies exist on the planet Earth throughout the densities and are aspects of the future timelines and the light body of the planet Earth. The Earth consciousness body is directly interconnected in all harmonic universes to interface with the human consciousness, which is its life form expression in all densities. In the fifth harmonic universe there is no dimensionalization into matter forms, therefore there is no planetary body or human form. In the fifth density, as the consciousness does not manifest into matter, this area is called prematter. The three primal light and sound fields hold the ray expressions of Mother Arc, Father Arc, and Golden Ray Son of Christos, the Trinity of the Godhead, from which all biological forms are created in all of the harmonic universes.
Now that listen, I'm telling you, all these things are a whole session in itself. These can be talked about in a whole session in itself.
It is very clear to most of us that we are a part of something humongous happening on planet Earth. The ascension impacts everyone and has personal implications that hold different meanings that are very intimate to each person. Connecting with your soul, connecting with God's source is very personal. As a part of the human race, we all know what it means to suffer horribly in pain and feel completely alone in the darkness. As we endure this ascension cycle, remember, it is about kindness above all. Honor where you are, take the time you need, allow yourself the space to heal and find the kindness for yourself. As you strengthen your core and can expand your sphere of influence, then practice random acts of kindness towards others. 1 second of criticism, sarcasm, belittling, or hateful words can mar and scar a child and a person for life. 1 second of kindness can elevate a child or person to accomplish greatness that allows them to find their soul. The soul is kind and loving. God is kind and loving. 1.
Now the acts of kindness, I mean, you can keep on trying and trying and trying, but the acts of kindness always goes unnoticed. They will ignore these acts of kindness. They will continue to try to paint you out to be of a false light, you know, so on and so forth. You can see this. You can see this rhetoric taking place. Now, we might not want to admit, believe, accept, whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it. You bet you got to accept it. You have to accept it. Now, how we get there, that's completely up to us. We have to find a way to get to this GSF, this conscious awareness to where as though we accept everybody energy in this dimension, right? That exists. Like we accept that negative exists. Negative don't want to accept that we exist. Some of our bodies don't operate off of low vibration. Some of our bodies don't operate off of negative. So it's difficult for us, right? So they don't want to accept that, we exist and our bodies don't operate like that. They don't want to accept that. You know what I mean? But, we do exist. We are here. We exist. We're here. And the problem is probably that, negative don't want to accept positive exist. You know what I mean? Negative don't want to accept that positive exists down here. But we here. We just ain't getting no recognition for being here. You know? We're not getting any recognition for being here. So they keep on tearing down the positive people, the people who vessels operate like that. They tear us down. When we're going through our ascension process, they tear us down while we're going through this ascension process. We know that we got to unify the collective that's in our ascension, so they tear us down. When we become aware of it,
Ascension,
when we
also
become
known
aware
as
of our
spiritual awakening,
collective,
is a
they start to
simultaneous
tear us
increase in
down.
expanding consciousness that occurs when our spiritual energetic bodies connect into our physical bodies. Generally, the catalyst for spiritual awakening is discovered through the process of progressive Kundalini activation that starts in the base of our spine and moves the intelligent energies up the spine and into the crown. As a human being undergoes the awakening process, which can progress gradually over many years, that person shifts into perceptions of higher consciousness, which can include increased awareness of energy in the environment, perceiving multidimensional realities, sensing extra-dimensional entities, and feeling a direct communion with God and the interconnected energy that exists between all things. Ascension is a change in spectrum of frequency through Kundalini awakening and a change in the focus of our consciousness. Ascension is about moving our consciousness from one reality to another. Since reality is a dimension, what we are undertaking is essentially a full dimensional shift. To go through this shift, we must adjust our way of thinking and being to that which is in alignment with our soul purpose and true divine essence. Ascension is the complex quantum mechanics governing the movement of consciousness through time and space. Consciousness is energy, as well as energy is intelligent consciousness. When energy shifts, so does our consciousness. Time and space as we have known on planet Earth is changing, and we are moving into a future timeline. Through gradual exposure to frequency activation of various stellar bodies, the planet is transformed into higher dimensional and frequency planes of existence. One can consider the multidimensional model of our reality through the study of the universal time matrix and the universal tree of life. The shift of frequency forces all of the planetary inhabitants to shift into the newly exposed planetary frequencies and adapt to the accumulative impact of the shifting energies. All humans have a unique blueprint and pace to keep aligned with the planetary frequencies. Some will adapt to these frequencies while embodied on planet, while others may not. The choice lies with each of us and is directly our responsibility. We can participate or not with our personal evolution process. All that is required from the ascension process is participation at the level you are able, and that attention and focus is placed on one's heart with a desire to know the true self.
See? So all of this stuff is taking place for us to know our true self. Right? But, I digress. We got to take a little nap break, maybe a midday nap break or something. I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling drained. We got to come back, take a little nap break. Hey, remember, man, love y'all. Love yourself. Love each other. Love is love. If nobody told you that they love you today, let me be the first, last. I love you. We'll be back live again today.
Speak to my soul, speak to my soul. Speak to my soul, speak to my soul. Wake up to the take up. Time for a shake up. Everything is changing. There's a real wake up. Mr. Wise is way ahead. Go back, listen to what he said. Truth being told, expose the lie. The brand new sky is something you can't deny. This is the reason why